Well, hello. This is a Senior Design 1 pitch for a project called Fortuna. Fortuna is an artificially intelligent robot combat mechanism, and this is version 2 of this project. Last year, version 1, the guys on that team did a phenomenal job. So should you decide to do this project, you will be picking up after some pretty talented guys. My name is Rick Lineker, and there's my email address. It is now currently fall of 2020. So I do have this online in case you want to refer back to it. I've got videos, and you can download the PowerPoint slides if you want. So this is based on something from 1989. I haven't seen anybody do anything like that. The original Omega game was published by Origin Software, and I was actually working at Compute Magazine at the time, and it actually created quite a big stir. I mean, it was really it had widespread acclamation, and it was just very popular. So you can still go. There's an archive site where you can go and actually play the game. By the way, this art is 320 by 200, 256 colors. That was the best you could do back in those days. So anyway, it gives you an idea of what we were up against. So here are the problems we're going to be solving. We want to teach basic programming with a GUI syntax. So the coding that the person will do will not be text-based. It'll be similar to what the MIT Scratch mechanism is, and I'll be able to show you that shortly. Introduce programmers to AI. I mean, it's pretty basic. It's going to be pretty basic as far as that goes, but it'll get them started to thinking. Provide competition in order to compare their programming techniques. So there's an online competition. I can challenge, say, another person, and they don't even have to be there because it's all deterministic based on your algorithms. So there's always a competition. You can make extra money if you fight another tank and you're able to prevail. Anyway, so the basic programming uses something similar. If you go to scratch.mit.edu, that's really what we're after. And the guy who wrote it, David Harmeyer, he was on the programming team. He's really talented. I thought he did a phenomenal job. But basically, you drag these objects like a for loop or a variable or whatever onto the canvas, and so that way there's far fewer syntax errors. So the beginning programmer doesn't have to deal with how to make sure that the syntax is correct. So the command set will have all the usual things such as loops and conditionals. But so there are going to be special commands for tank-like robots such as turn, aim, fire. And what I'd like for you to do, the first step you're going to have to do is to get familiar with the original Omega program. So with the basic graphical programming, tanks can do battle with each other. So the tanks actually reside on the server, the actual tank design or the tank code or whatever. So tanks have code, they have extra guns that maybe you've purchased, they have extra armaments and so forth. But all that resides on in one data set on the server. And then when you log in, it's got a list of your tanks. You start off with one, but you might have multiple tanks and you start off. So tanks will do battle with each other in order to determine which code base works best for the battle. There will be a web-based leaderboard for contestants, and there is a leaderboard that's already complete. However, I would like to have it improved. There's a currency. Battles have fees, so you pay a fee to fight. The winner gets the fees of both contestants. Tanks can be traded or sold. Now, originally I had thought that we could sort of buy and sell like code blocks or pieces of code or code functions, and also buy and sell like armaments. They did not have time to implement that. But it'd be really nice if you could say, I don't like this gun anymore, I want to sell the gun. Or I've got this code I wrote that works really good, let me see if I can sell it to other people. Add-ons are available for purchase in the system currency, mostly AI objects such as RNNs and A-star. This actually didn't really get done. I think the A-star might be sort of primitively done. So these add-ons, they never got the time. This was really kind of a stretch goal anyway. But this is what I would be asking you to do this year. By purchasing the AI objects, programmers can give their tanks more capabilities. At the same time, they're learning AI. They're learning something about how it works, how it helps. So battles are deterministic and always play out the same way. So it's not like there's any user interaction. You don't like control your tanks. They control themselves. And so you can play the battle over and over and over again. It will always be the same outcome. And then that way, you can actually review the battles. You can review other battles between two other opponents, and you can see what they're. So let's say I'm going to attack, say, Jim Bob or whoever. I could go and study all of his previous battles and figure out sort of what his tanks are doing and maybe how I can get an edge up. So once you've had a battle, it will always play the same because it's going to save the tank objects for each one. For this reason, replays are easy. Simple show the battle sequence. Other add-ons, I've already mentioned this, armaments and shields. I think they've got that done. I think that the armaments and shields, but I don't think you can sell them. I think you can buy them, but I'm not sure you can sell them, which is really something that we need to have. Now, you're probably asking, well, a lot of this stuff is going to be detective work on your part. I don't necessarily know everything about this game, even though I sponsored it. So a lot of it's going to be detective work on your part to figure out what actually they got done and so forth. Deliverables, web-based server with database, holding tanks and user specs. Now this is already done, so you will most likely need to do amendments to it and adjustments. However, you've got a starting place, and it's on a DigitalOcean server, and so it should be pretty easy. I don't have the password, but I can reset the password because I'm the account owner. It needs a website for leaderboard and explanation of the system, and that's actually one of the most glaring deficiencies is when you first log on, you have no clue what really to do. And here again, I'm not trying to criticize this group. They did an absolutely phenomenal job. In fact, Dr. Carbone from FIA was on the committee, and he was really impressed with what they had done in 2 semesters. So they did good work, but it's impossible with a team of 5 to do all of these bells and whistles. Let's see, web-based tank editor. So you're going to have a tank editor where you can add parts or add guns or shields or whatever, and then go ahead and write your code. And then there's a web-based battle arena, which I'm not sure there's enough. There are like barriers that you can hide behind. So we really need to explore how to make that a little more flexible. So what are the software engineering deliverables? Those of you who've had me before know I want some sort of a Gantt chart. And when we do our bi-monthly meetings, I'll be looking at that. Website map, class diagrams. We need some sort of testing plan for the unit integration and tests. So the technologies, this is a MERN stack on DigitalOcean. It already exists. The web technologies are JavaScript, HTML, and CSS. Bootstrap and React are not really optional. They're required. They're already there, so you don't have to really worry about that. There is a GitHub repository for all this that you can take a look at it. It's on github.com/ricklineker/Fortuna, and you can take a look at their code. And I'm going to assume that their code is probably pretty solid because it was just a really good group of people. So here's what version 2 really needs. It has to be much easier to sign up and know what to do. Let me go ahead and get to that point. So here's the login screen, and you don't necessarily know what to do here. I mean, I guess log in is what you do, but you don't even know. It doesn't really say, what this website is all about. And here you're kind of confused on what to do if you've never played the game before. And here again, another one of these things, you'll notice that this UI really needs to be an overhaul. So if I go to like the training area, I should be able to change battle type. And okay, so it's here again. It's very unclear what this is supposed to do. The edit mechanism is called Cassis, and here again, you drag these things onto the canvas. These are here again. It's kind of hard to read. So if we could expand these, make these a little bit bigger. But then you just type in the arguments, and here again, not knowing what to do, you just stare at the screen and you're like, what do I do next? You can actually put stuff inside of there. So it isn't embedded. He's got it done in a tree structure. So, but somehow you need to be able to control flow. Yeah, he's got. I mean, there is quite a bit here. It just needs to be easier to read and understand, and maybe some instructions on how to do it. In fact, I would say like a whole tutorial section on how to do it. Let me get back to my slides. So we need to add some sort of neural network objects that they can buy as libraries. Just like they buy guns, they can add like some sort of a RNN library or CNN library or whatever. The website UI needs to be totally updated. Really, that wasn't their specialty, so someone needs to get in there and spruce this up. At least 6 startup tanks that can be used initially. So my idea is that you have like 6 tanks that have the basic functionality already programmed into them, and so that right now they start with like nothing. There's no code in their tank. But it'd be really nice if you had some sort of code that at least would move the tank around. And there needs to be a really nice lesson section on writing the code and how to do it so you can actually win. We've got to have bi-monthly meetings. So here are my available time slots, and once you form a group, we can go ahead and get this done. Get a bi-monthly meeting scheduled.